Hello, I'm John Dodge, Community Manager of the Enterprise CIO Forum. My guests today are Steve Prentice. He is president of the consulting firm of Bristol Morgan in Toronto. They specialize in combining technology and human dynamics. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you.
And my other guest is Christian Verstraete. He's in Brussels, and he is the Chief Cloud Technologist for Hewlett-Packard. Hi, Christian.
Hi, John.
Well, we're going to talk today, obviously, about the cloud. That's been a central core topic for us at the Enterprise CIO Forum for some time. And we'd like to start with a basic, simple question. Christian, you wrote a post a while back saying one size cloud does not fit all. Explain what you meant by that and how do you choose the right cloud?
Okay, in a nutshell, what I was pointing out was that you have a set of different requirements as an organization, and all those requirements will not automatically be fed by one type of cloud, whatever type of cloud you choose. If you choose a public cloud, well, there is some data that you may want to keep private. So you're not going to put that on the public cloud. You'd rather put that on the private cloud. So the whole thing is, rather than just looking and saying, hey, I need one cloud, just take back and say, hey, what do I really need? What functionality do I need? What capabilities do I need? How sensitive am I to security, to compliance, to other terms? And with that in mind, let's make a choice where we position what type of application, what type of workload, and what type of data.
Steve, how would you answer that question in evaluating what cloud is right for your company?
I think that like many of its precursors before it with regards to client server, companies have to not only take into consideration what kind of data is being used there, but also the ergonomics. How are people going to be not only turning to this and using this, not only from their desks at their workplace, but also bringing in their own devices? So the compatibility issues. But there's also the learning curve. I mean, this is something that I look at from my side is the adoption rate and how well are people going to be able to use this and learn to use it. So not only are we looking at public versus private, there is just simply the ergonomics against the cost savings that is always projected. We'll save a lot of money going to the cloud, yes, but the cost of learning, retraining people, and also reassigning the people in IT, these are things to factor in as well. So I look at it from the human side. What is the cost of the change? Without being anti the change, what is the cost of this change?
That's great, Steve, because not a lot of people talk about the impact on end users and what they're seeing. And, my sort of take is maybe it should be transparent to them. It really the application shouldn't look any different because it's in the cloud, or they shouldn't have to manage that cloud. Let's move on to the second question here. Christian, what is the best way to evaluate a particular cloud?
The first element to do is really to understand what you get with that particular cloud. What is the level of transparency you get on the service, the way the service is brought forward, where the service is located, who participates in delivering the service? Because a lot of people forget that a cloud service is often the result of what I call a cloud supply chain, where multiple partners actually intervene. And like in the video, like in the TV game, it's the weakest link that is going to cause you the trouble, but you don't know who that weakest link is. So there is all these elements that you actually need to take into account to really assess what type of things you can do with what particular cloud. And in some clouds, you get information much more easy than in others. And that's why you make some choices.
That's a great metaphor. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Same question for you, Steve. Maybe from the end user point of view, what is the best way to evaluate a cloud?
I'm going to look at customer service from the vendors themselves. The notion of the cloud being an all-encompassing global umbrella of information storage is wonderful, but one of the writers that I was reading recently said a vendor's cloud is still a vendor's cloud. You're still dealing with the supplier, no matter if it is converged or hybrid, no matter how they are integrating with your system, there's still a supplier that has to have a certain level of customer service, a guarantee of uptime and availability. So I'm looking at this from the side of how much can I rely on the vendor who's going to deliver the cloud service, as well as the actual technical workings of that cloud itself. I'm always not going to say skeptical, but I don't want to be swept away by the magic of the new technology to the extent of saying, hey, someone's still got to pay for this and someone's still got to provide the service. And I've been reading a lot of blogs recently about the difficulties with regards to top quality customer service with some of the cloud providers.
Well, that's a great lead into our last question, and let's stay with you, Steve. What should you look for in a cloud vendor?
I would say that the willingness, once as it always has been, the willingness to sit down with an individual customer, no matter what their size, and fully understand what their needs are going to be both now and into the future. Once again, there are some cloud providers, for example, who are only looking at working with the largest of their client companies. They want to be all-encompassing, certainly, but every customer is a customer, and if they have 50 employees or 5,000 employees, they have needs. They have a need for dynamic growth. They also have a need to control this growth. I mean, Parkinson's law is a law that says, as you probably know, that work expands to fill the time available, and it's applied equally well to storage, right? No matter how much storage I can purchase, I will be able to fill it, no problem. So I'm looking for a vendor that understands my customers, my company, my industry, the challenges therefore, and can work hand in hand with me as any service provider always should. So I'm always going to assess this from the customer service and people side, and then leave the CIO to, or his or her people to assess the full quality of the technology behind it.
Christian, same question for you. You worked for a vendor. What should a enterprise and a CIO look for in a vendor?
I think you should look for a partner, and Steve put it absolutely perfectly, is look for a partner that on the one hand is prepared to help him, but at the same time is prepared to open his kimono and basically tell how he's doing a certain number of things. And define what, jointly with his customer, what is absolutely needed for a particular type of work. Now, if I'm trying to test applications with anonymized data, my needs are different than if I run my payroll or my financial system. So I may not have the same requirements for both, reason why I may end up putting them on different clouds. But in each of the cases, I want to make absolutely sure that I get what I need. And one of the big issues with a lot of the larger cloud vendors today, cloud service vendors today, is that they don't provide that level of transparency. They just tell you, oh, trust me. That's easy. Trust me.
Mm-hmm. Trust is earned. It's not given. Great answer. It's just
exactly.
It's not as simple as getting out a credit card and all of a sudden you're in the cloud. Well, Christian Verstraete in Brussels, thank you very much for being with us today, and Steve Prentice in Toronto. Thanks for some great insight into cloud computing.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm John Dodge, Community Manager of the Enterprise CIO Forum. Thanks for watching. We will see you again.